Ever get that feeling, like when you were a kid, looking up at the stars and just wondering, is anybody else out
Oh, absolutely.
there?
It's a question that's haunted humanity since we first looked up at the night sky.
And today, we're taking a deep dive into the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. But
We're going way beyond the typical UFO sightings and little green men.
exactly, we're talking about real science, big ideas, and some of the most mind-boggling theories out there.
And trust me, some of this stuff will really make you think twice about our place in the universe.
So to get started, we have to ask ourselves, if there are other advanced civilizations out there, how would we even begin to understand them?
It's a great question because we can't just assume they'll be similar to us. We need a framework.
A framework for alien civilizations. Tell me more.
Well, back in 1964, a Russian astrophysicist named Nikolai Kardashev came up with a way to classify civilizations based on their energy consumption.
Energy consumption, that sounds a bit basic, doesn't it?
It might sound simple, but it's actually a brilliant way to measure technological advancement. Think about it. Energy drives everything.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. The more advanced a civilization becomes, the more energy it needs to sustain itself.
Exactly. So the Kardashev scale, as it's called, basically looks at how much energy a civilization can harness and control. It gives us a way to rank them to understand their capabilities.
So what are these levels? Paint me a picture. What does a Type I civilization look like?
A Type I civilization is a species that has completely mastered its own planet. They've harnessed all available energy sources, solar, wind, geothermal, you name it.
So they're not just using energy, they're controlling it on a planetary scale.
Exactly. They can control the weather, prevent natural disasters, even tap into the Earth's internal heat. They've essentially become immune to the kinds of things that still threaten us here on Earth.
Wow. And that's just Type 1. What about Type 2?
Now, Type 2 is where things get really mind-blowing. A Type 2 civilization can harness the entire energy output of its star.
The entire star, like building a giant solar panel around the sun.
You're on the right track.
Yeah.
They need to build something called a Dyson sphere, a hypothetical megastructure that completely encapsulates a star to capture all of its energy.
A Dyson sphere. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but if any civilization could do it, a Type 2 could.
Exactly. And just imagine the kind of technology and resources they'd need to build something on that scale. The engineering challenges alone are almost unimaginable to us.
It's almost impossible to fathom. So, if Type 2 has conquered a whole star, what's left for a Type 3 civilization?
Type 3. Now you're talking about a civilization that's gone galactic. They've spread out from their home star and colonized multiple star systems, maybe even their entire galaxy.
They're harnessing the power of billions of stars. What could possibly stand in their way?
At that level, they'd practically be gods to us. They could manipulate space-time, travel between galaxies, control matter at a subatomic level.
It's incredible and a little terrifying at the same time. It makes you wonder, where do we fall on this scale?
Well, right now, we're not even a full Type I yet. Current estimates put us at about a 0.73.
0.73. So we're like almost a Type I.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah.
But it also highlights just how far we have to go before we reach those higher levels.
It's amazing, though, to think that we're closer to becoming a Type I civilization than we are to, well, whatever came before we figured out fire.
Absolutely. But that's the beauty of the Kardashev scale. It shows us the incredible potential of technological advancement while also reminding us that we're still just getting started.
It's a mind-blowing thought experiment. But here's the thing. If the universe is billions of years old, and even a tiny fraction of planets with life-developed intelligent civilizations, shouldn't there be tons of Type 2 and Type 3 civilizations out there by now?
You're absolutely right. And that brings us to one of the biggest mysteries in science, the Fermi paradox.
The Fermi paradox. It's named after physicist Enrico Fermi, right?
Precisely. He's the one who famously posed the question, where is everybody?
Because if the universe is as vast and as old as we think it is, statistically speaking, we shouldn't be alone.
And yet here we are. No definitive signs of alien civilizations, no messages, no megastructures that we can detect, at least not yet. It's a cosmic silence that's both puzzling and a little unnerving.
So where does that leave us? Why haven't we encountered any other intelligent life out there? What are the possible explanations for this cosmic silence?
Well, there are plenty of theories, each more fascinating and sometimes terrifying than the last.
Okay, hit me with them.
One possibility is that interstellar travel is simply too difficult. even for incredibly advanced civilizations.
You're saying even with technology beyond our wildest dreams, the distances between stars are just too vast to overcome.
Think about it. Even traveling at a significant percentage of the speed of light, it would still take generations to reach even the nearest star systems. And that's assuming they've figured out how to travel that fast in the first place, which is a huge challenge in itself.
So interstellar travel might be a much bigger hurdle than we realize. I mean, heck, we're still struggling to get humans to Mars and back safely.
And that's just our own solar system. But what if the challenges go beyond just the logistics of travel? What if there are other reasons why we haven't encountered any alien civilizations?
Like what? You're starting to make me nervous.
Well, some scientists propose a rather unsettling possibility. What if advanced civilizations have a tendency to self-destruct?
Self-destruct, you mean they reach a certain level of technology and then wipe themselves out?
It's a sobering thought, but it's not entirely implausible. Think about the challenges we face here on Earth: climate change, nuclear proliferation, resource depletion. What if those are universal problems that every civilization eventually has to confront?
And for most civilizations, maybe they fail to overcome those challenges. It's like a cosmic game over before they ever get the chance to reach out to the stars.
And that's if they even make it that far in the first place. Remember, we're also talking about things like asteroid impacts, gamma ray bursts, or other cosmic events that could wipe out a civilization before it even has a chance to develop interstellar travel.
It makes you wonder if there's some kind of built-in expiration date for intelligent life in the universe, a point where civilizations become too advanced for their own good.
It's definitely a possibility. But even if some civilizations do manage to avoid those pitfalls, there are even wilder theories out there that try to explain why we haven't encountered them.
Wilder, you're telling me it gets even more out there than self-destructing civilizations and the mind-boggling difficulties of interstellar travel. Don't hold back. I want to hear it all. Okay, so last time we left off with this image of civilizations maybe like accidentally hitting the self-destruct button before they can reach out to the cosmos. But there are other theories out there, right? Even wilder
Oh
ones.
yeah, there's one in particular. It's called the Great Filter. And let me tell you, it's a bit of a chilling
The
thought.
Great Filter. Okay, you're going to have to explain this one.
So imagine life emerging on countless planets across the universe. Statistically speaking, we can't be the only ones.
Right, the odds seem way too astronomical for us to be totally alone.
Exactly. But what if, and this is the scary part, there's something that prevents most life from ever reaching a certain level of development? A filter, so to speak.
Like a cosmic roadblock that most civilizations just can't seem to get past.
Exactly. It could be anything, really. Maybe the jump from single-celled organisms to complex life is rarer than we think. Or maybe it's the development of intelligence itself. Or, and this is a bit bleak, perhaps it's the tendency of intelligent life to destroy itself once it reaches a certain point.
So basically, the Great Filter could be behind us, meaning we've already passed the biggest hurdle.
Or it's still ahead of us, looming out there somewhere in our future,
Mm.
and we have no idea what it is or when it might hit.
Okay, now that is a truly unsettling thought. So if this Great Filter exists, wouldn't we see some evidence of it? Like, shouldn't the universe be littered with the remnants of civilizations that didn't make it?
Not necessarily. The Great Filter doesn't have to be a single event like some giant cosmic explosion. It could be a more subtle process, a gradual decline, or a series of smaller events that eventually lead to a civilization's demise.
Okay, so we've got silent aliens, self-destruction, and this invisible Great Filter that could wipe us out at any moment. I'm starting to think we should have picked a more cheerful topic. Any chance there's a theory out there that doesn't make me question the very nature of reality?
Well, about that,
Yeah.
there is one more theory we should probably discuss, and this one is a real doozy. It's called the zoo hypothesis.
The zoo hypothesis. Okay, now you're just messing with me.
I'm serious. Imagine for a moment that we're not alone, that there are other advanced civilizations out there, and let's say they're aware of us. But instead of making contact, they've chosen to observe us from a distance.
Like, we're animals in a cosmic zoo. They're watching our every move, studying our behavior, maybe even taking notes on our fashion choices.
You've got the general idea. The zoo hypothesis suggests that advanced civilizations might have a kind of prime directive that prevents them from interfering with less developed species. Or maybe they're just curious, watching how we evolve and interact with our world.
So that weird thing I did last week, they saw that.
Well, who knows what they consider weird out there in the vastness of space. But the idea is they're out there watching and waiting for reasons we can only speculate about.
Okay, so let's say for a moment that the zoo hypothesis is true. Why All the secrecy. Why not just introduce themselves? Hey, humans, we come in peace.
It might not be that simple. They could be concerned about contaminating our culture. Or maybe they're waiting for us to reach a certain level of technological or social development before they make contact.
Like, we have to prove we're not going to freak out and start shooting lasers at them the moment they land on the White House lawn.
Something like that.
Eh.
Or maybe they're worried about what we might do if we did have access to their technology. After all, we haven't exactly got the best track record when it comes to managing our own planet and our relationships with each other.
Okay, fair point. Maybe a little cosmic quarantine is for our own good. But if they're so advanced, why haven't we seen any signs of them? Even accidentally.
That's the million-dollar question. Maybe they're just really, really good at hiding. Or maybe, and this is where things get really interesting, we've been looking for the wrong signs all along.
All right, you were about to tell me about one more theory, one that's even stranger than aliens keeping us in a cosmic zoo, something about simulations.
Okay, so buckle up, because this one is a real mind-bender. It's called the simulation argument. And it basically asks the question, what if everything we perceive as real, everything around us, is actually part of a giant computer simulation?
A simulation, like
Yeah.
we're all just characters in some advanced alien video game.
It's a bit more complicated than that, but you're on the right track. Imagine a civilization so technologically advanced that they can create simulations indistinguishable from reality. Not just simple simulations, but entire universes with their own laws of physics, their own history, everything.
Okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So you're saying there's a chance that our entire universe is just artificial, a bunch of ones and zeros in some supercomputer.
Exactly. Think about how far our technology has come in a relatively short amount of time. We've gone from room-sized computers to smartphones in our pockets. Virtual reality is becoming more and more realistic. Is it so crazy to think that a sufficiently advanced civilization could create simulations that are completely immersive, completely convincing?
I guess not, but it's still a lot to process. But if we are in a simulation, is there any way to prove it or disprove it?
That's the thing about the simulation argument. It's practically impossible to prove or disprove with our current level of understanding. It's more of a philosophical thought experiment, something that makes us question the nature of reality itself.
So we could be living in a simulation and we might never even know it.
It's a mind-blowing possibility, isn't it? And it raises all sorts of other questions. If we are in a simulation, who are the simulators? What's their purpose? And what happens if they decide to hit the off switch?
Oh, okay. I officially have existential dread now. But seriously, after this deep dive into alien megastructures, cosmic paradoxes, and the mind-blowing possibility that we're all just living in a giant computer program, where does that leave us?
You know, I think the most amazing thing about all of this, about the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, is that it really forces us to confront some of the biggest, most fundamental questions we can ask about ourselves and our place in the universe.
It really makes you realize how much we don't know.
Exactly. We're constantly learning, constantly pushing the boundaries of our knowledge. And even if we would never find definitive proof of alien civilizations, the very act of searching, of exploring these possibilities, is what drives scientific progress and expands our understanding of the universe.
So what you're saying is the journey is just as important as the destination, even if that destination is realizing that our reality might be a lot stranger than we ever imagined.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe someday our search for answers will lead us to a discovery that changes everything. Until then, keep looking up at the stars and asking the big questions, because the more we learn about the universe, the more amazing it becomes.
Well said. That's it for today's deep dive into the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. We hope you enjoyed exploring the mind-blowing possibilities with us. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to more information about the Kardashev scale, the Fermi paradox, and all the other amazing concepts we discussed today. And until next time, keep exploring the universe.